What is up, guys? It is Coasters and Things here today, and I recently visited Silver Dollar City for the first time, and I got to ride all 7 roller coasters here. What's cool about this park is there isn't a single bad coaster here. My home park is the other Hershend park, Dollywood, and that's not something Dollywood can say as well. Every coaster here is solid, and here are my rankings of them from my least favorite to my favorite. Coming in last place is Grand Exposition Coaster. This is a Zamperla family gravity coaster, the exact same as all the other ones out there, and this is just a basic kiddie coaster. I mentioned how there isn't a bad coaster here. I'm not calling a kiddie coaster bad just because it's a kiddie coaster. I'm simply not the targeted audience with this ride. This is just your standard kiddie coaster, goes around 3 times, nothing much. Number 6 is Fire in the Hole. This is an indoor coaster that is honestly more dark ride than roller coaster. It's very similar to Blazing Fury at Dollywood, but I like Fire in the Hole more because it still has the splashdown at the end. That was nostalgic for me because I rode Blazing Fury as a little kid when it still had its splashdown, so that brought back a lot of memories. In terms of theming, they're both themed to a town being set on fire, and the layouts feel very similar. Number 5 is Thunderation. This is an aerodynamics mine train, and one of the better ones out there. It's a long ride and has some really good forces to it. It's relatively smooth, and it has the single-person lap bars instead of the T-bars that both riders share. I personally much prefer the mine trains with the lap bars as opposed to the T-bars. A long time ago, 2 of its cars actually used to face backwards. That'd be cool to see return someday. You can tell Silver Dollar City really maintains this ride well and wants to keep it running for years to come. Taking the number 4 spot is Wildfire. This is a B&M sit-down coaster that is built into the hillside. The drop on this coaster in the back row actually is great. You get sustained airtime going down it. I unfortunately only got 1 ride on it at night. I was about to get a second ride. We were in our seats with our restraints down when it broke down and we were forced to leave, which sucked. That being said, the 1 ride I did get on it thankfully was in the back row, and I thought it was a really solid looping coaster. The inversions are pretty standard B&M elements: Immelman, vertical loop, cobra roll, and corkscrew. I think the vertical loop was my favorite of the inversions. What sets this apart from other B&M loopers, though, is that it is built into the hillside. That makes for times when you're super close to the ground and times when you're very high off the ground. Entering the top 3 is Powder Keg. Also known as Powder Keg A Blast in the Wilderness, this is a very bizarre roller coaster. It started its life as a Premier Rides water coaster called Buzzsaw Falls, then got transformed into a launch coaster by S&S Worldwide. And it's not just any launch, this is an air-compressed launch. The launch has a good punch to it. You just go soaring through the woods. You really are flying through the layout. This ride is so underrated. Why does nobody talk about it? It's glass smooth and has a lot of really good forces in it. You also get really good airtime over the top hat. Now the one thing, I waited an hour for this coaster because I hit it late and it supposedly always gets long lines. If you're going here for the first time, I'd suggest riding this early. Now we're at the 1-2 punch. Pretty much everyone agrees what the top 2 is. About half have one as the best, and about half have the other as the best. This is my opinion on them. At number 2, we have Time Traveler. This is the first ever Mock Rides Extreme Spinning coaster, and it was my most anticipated coaster at this park. I got 2 rides on this, 1 in the day and 1 at night. The first ride I got on this, I rode in the back car, and safe to say I was not ready for the drop in the back on my first ride. I had heard this drop was crazy, and this drop is just insane. You take a 90-degree drop straight out of the station, and you can take it from any angle. I took it going down sideways. Then you go through the rest of the layout, which includes going upside down 3 times, spinning. It's crazy. The first time I rode this, I was so disoriented that I was speechless. It's really smooth, and I want to see more of these built. Just get there early or be on one of the last rides of the night, because it consistently gets long lines. Number 1, of course, is Outlaw Run, the RMC Topper Track wooden coaster. This was the first ground-up RMC, the second ever RMC after New Texas Giant, as well as the first ever wooden coaster to go upside down more than once. Like Time Traveler, I got 2 rides on this, an evening ride in the front row and a night ride in the second to back row. I must say, I went in thinking this would be a lower tier RMC, but it blew me away. It is a little rough for an RMC, but not nearly to the point where it impacts the ride. The layout is incredible. It really bends to fit the terrain. The drop in the back row was really good. The wave turn was better than I was expecting, and the awesome finale, the double barrel roll. This has got to be one of the best finales on a roller coaster. You get some really good hang time here. The second roll you go through really slow actually, and then you just coast into the brake run. I've ridden over 200 roller coasters now, and Outlaw Run found its way into my top 10. I loved Outlaw Run, and it was by far my favorite coaster at Silver Dollar City. How would you rank the coasters at Silver Dollar City? What's your favorite coaster there? How much did you agree with my list? You can let me know all that stuff down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Coasters and Things, signing out.